The rain-slicked streets of Manhattan gleamed under the streetlights as I ducked into that dimly lit bar on a whim, my heart still raw from a string of failed dates. That's where I first locked eyes with Jamie. Tall, with a disarming smile that cut through the haze of cigarette smoke and jazz notes floating from the speakers. He slid onto the stool next to me, ordered a whiskey neat, and by the end of the night we were tangled in conversation that felt like fate, until he leaned in and whispered, "This is just for fun, okay? No strings." I nodded then, because why not? At 28, I was tired of the heavy expectations that came with being openly gay in a city that preached acceptance but whispered judgments. Jamie was 25, fresh out of grad school, with dreams of becoming a journalist that sparkled in his eyes like the city skyline. We spent weekends wandering Central Park, debating politics over coffee, and stealing kisses in hidden alleys. But from the start, he kept reminding me, "Just fun, Alex. Don't get attached." I laughed it off, but deep down it stung, like he was building a wall I couldn't climb. As weeks turned to months, the fun deepened. We'd cook dinner in my tiny Brooklyn apartment, sharing stories of our pasts. Jamie opened up about his strained relationship with his father, Robert, a prominent architect in Chicago who'd moved to New York after a messy divorce. "He's the reason I'm so guarded," Jamie confessed one night, his head on my chest. "Grew up watching him chase perfection, never letting anyone in. Made me who I am, cautious, ambitious, afraid of real commitment." I held him closer, feeling a pull toward this invisible man who'd shaped the person I was falling for. But the cracks showed soon enough. Jamie started pulling away, canceling plans with flimsy excuses about work deadlines. One evening, over dim sum in Chinatown, he finally said it, "I think we should stop. It was fun, but I'm not ready for more." His words hit like a subway door slamming shut. I sat there, chopsticks frozen, as he explained he needed space to focus on his career, echoing the very traits he'd blamed on his father. Anger bubbled up. How could he dismiss us so easily? As he left, I muttered under my breath, "Fine, if it's just fun, then maybe I'll find something real with someone who knows what that means." Grief turned to resolve in the following weeks. I threw myself into my job as a graphic designer, sketching logos and layouts to distract from the ache. Then fate or spite intervened at a networking event in Midtown. Amid the clinking glasses and forced small talk, I spotted a man across the room. Silver-streaked hair, sharp suit, exuding quiet confidence. Our eyes met, and he approached with a warm handshake. "Robert Harrington," he introduced himself. My stomach dropped. Jamie's father. He was 48, but carried himself with the vitality of someone who'd lived fully, lines around his eyes telling stories of triumphs and heartbreaks. We talked for hours that night. Robert shared his passion for sustainable architecture, his regrets over the divorce that had distanced him from Jamie. "I pushed him too hard," he admitted, staring into his glass. "Wanted him to be strong, independent. But maybe I made him too afraid of vulnerability." His honesty disarmed me. Unlike Jamie's guarded charm, Robert's presence felt grounded, real. As the event wound down, he asked for my number, suggesting coffee to discuss a potential collaboration on a project. I hesitated, but the spark was undeniable. Was this revenge, curiosity, or something genuine? Our first coffee turned into lunches, then dinners. Robert was openly bisexual, having come out after his marriage ended, facing backlash from conservative colleagues and family. "It cost me relationships," he said, "but it freed me." I found myself opening up about my own struggles, growing up in a small Midwest town where being gay meant hiding in shadows. Our conversations flowed effortlessly, laced with shared laughter and lingering glances. One night, walking along the Hudson River, he stopped and turned to me. "Alex, there's something here, isn't there?" His voice was steady, but his eyes searched mine with a vulnerability Jamie had never shown. I kissed him then, under the glow of the city lights, feeling a rush of emotions I'd buried. It wasn't just attraction. It was connection. But guilt gnawed at me. Jamie was his son. How could I pursue this? Society would call it taboo, a betrayal. Yet, As we parted ways, I couldn't shake the thought. If Jamie had discarded me so casually, maybe dating the man who'd influenced his fears was my way of rewriting the narrative. Little did I know this choice would unravel everything. The secrecy started small, like a seed planted in fertile soil. Robert and I met in out-of-the-way cafes in Queens, away from the prying eyes of Manhattan's elite circles where he worked. He'd text me late at night, sharing articles on design that mirrored my interests, or voice notes recounting his day with a warmth that made my chest tighten. "You're different, Alex," he said during one of our stolen afternoons in a park bench overlooking the East River. "You see people not just what they can offer." But the weight of the unspoken truth pressed heavier with each date. I hadn't told Robert about my history with Jamie. How could I? It felt like dropping a bomb in the fragile foundation we were building. Jamie, meanwhile, had faded into the background of my life, our mutual friends occasionally mentioning his new bylines in local papers. I scrolled through his social media once, seeing him at events with a carefree smile, and felt a pang of resentment. He'd moved on so easily, while I was navigating this complex web. One evening, Robert invited me to his loft in Soho, a space filled with blueprints and bookshelves groaning under the weight of architectural tomes. We cooked pasta together, laughing as sauce splattered the counter. Over wine, he opened up about his past. A marriage to Jamie's mother that crumbled under the strain of his suppressed identity. "I loved her, but I wasn't honest with myself," he confessed, his hand covering mine. "Coming out at 40 was like shedding a skin. Painful but necessary. Jamie took it hard. Blamed me for breaking the family." His words echoed Jamie's earlier admissions, painting a fuller picture of the man who'd raised him. Robert wasn't the cold perfectionist Jamie described. He was flawed, reflective, striving for redemption. As we sat on the couch, the conversation turned intimate. "What about you, Alex? Any ghosts in your closet?" I hesitated, the truth on the tip of my tongue, but instead, I kissed him, letting the moment drown out the doubts. Our relationship deepened, becoming a refuge from the world's chaos. Yet, society's undercurrents began to surface. At a gallery opening Robert dragged me to, we ran into his old colleagues, straight-laced types who raised eyebrows at our close proximity. "Who's this young man?" one asked, his tone laced with insinuation. Robert introduced me as a talented designer friend, but the label chafed. Age gaps in gay relationships often drew scrutiny, whispers of power imbalances or daddy issues. I felt it acutely, wondering if I was just a rebound for Robert, or if he saw me as an equal. The conflict escalated when Jamie re-entered the picture indirectly. Robert mentioned a family dinner he was dreading. Jamie's mother visiting from Chicago, insisting on reconciliation. "Jamie's been distant," Robert sighed. "Won't even talk about his personal life." Guilt twisted in my gut. I imagined the explosion if the truth came out. Me, the ex he'd dismissed, now involved with his father. It was the stuff of tabloid scandals, fueling debates on ethics in relationships, family boundaries, and queer dynamics. Pushing the thoughts aside, I focused on us. We took a weekend trip to the Hamptons, walking beaches hand in hand where fewer eyes judged. Robert shared dreams of starting a firm focused on LGBTQ+ community centers, inspiring me to pitch ideas for branding. "You make me want to be better," he said, pulling me close as waves crashed. In those moments, the drama felt distant, but reality intruded via a late-night call from a friend. "Saw Jamie at a bar last night. He's dating someone new. Looks serious." Jealousy flared briefly, then morphed into defiance. If he could move on, so could I. But the facade cracked one afternoon when Robert showed me old photos. There was Jamie as a teen, awkward and earnest, standing beside Robert at a construction site. "He idolized me once," Robert mused. "Now he resents me." Staring at the image, I felt like an intruder. That night, alone in my apartment, I debated ending it. Was this love or a twisted form of payback? The emotional turmoil built, setting the stage for inevitable confrontation. As our bond strengthened, so did the external pressures. Robert's ex-wife, Elaine, arrived in town, and he invited me to meet her discreetly over coffee, testing waters for family integration. She was gracious, but her eyes narrowed when Robert mentioned our friendship. "Be careful, dear," she whispered to me later. "Robert's heart is big, but his past complicates things." Her words lingered, amplifying my fears of societal backlash. In a community still fighting for equality, our story could spark arguments about generational trauma and forbidden romances. The turning point came subtly, like storm clouds gathering over the skyline. Robert and I had been together for 4 months when he suggested I join him for a charity gala. His world of high society donors and influential architects. "Come as my date," he insisted, his eyes pleading. "I'm tired of hiding." I agreed, nerves jangling, but the night started promisingly. In a tuxedo, Robert looked every bit the distinguished gentleman, and as we entered the ballroom, heads turned, not all in disapproval. We danced under chandeliers, his hand firm on my back, whispering jokes that made me laugh genuinely. For the first time, I felt seen not as a secret or a fling, but as a partner. But midway through, a familiar voice cut through the crowd. "Dad!" Jamie stood there, champagne flute in hand, his face paling as he took in our linked arms. Time froze. Robert's grip tightened, confusion etching his features. "Jamie? What are you doing here?" The revelation spilled out in a heated sidebar in a quiet hallway. Jamie's eyes darted between us, piecing it together. "You? With him?" He spat at me, betrayal raw in his voice. "After what we had?" Robert stepped in, voice steady. "What you had? Alex, is this true?" I nodded, shame flooding me. "It was casual, remember? You said so yourself." Jamie's laugh was bitter. "Casual doesn't mean screwing my father." The argument escalated, voices echoing off marble walls. Jamie accused me of manipulation, a vengeful ploy to hurt him. "You're using him to get back at me." Robert defended me at first, but doubt crept in. "Why didn't you tell me?" he asked, hurt lacing his words. I explained, fear of losing him, the unexpected connection, but it sounded weak. Jamie stormed off, leaving us in stunned silence. That night, back at Robert's loft, we talked until dawn. "I need time," he said finally, his embrace lacking its usual warmth. The fallout rippled outward. Jamie cut off contact with Robert, fueling family tensions. Elaine called, furious. "How could you drag my son into this mess?" Friends divided. Some saw it as poetic justice, others as unethical. In the gay community, whispers spread. Was it ageism to question the gap, or valid concern over familial ties? I faced backlash at work, colleagues side-eyeing me after rumors circulated. "Dating your ex's dad? That's bold." One quipped, but the undertone was judgmental. Amid the chaos, my emotions churned. I loved Robert, his kindness, his intellect, but guilt eroded it. Was I perpetuating the cycle of pain he'd inflicted on Jamie? Therapy sessions helped unpack it. My own abandonment issues from a distant father projecting onto this dynamic. Robert and I met sporadically, trying to salvage us, but the strain showed. "I missed the simplicity," he admitted over coffee. Before all this, Jamie resurfaced via scathing email to me. "You think you're better than me? Dad will see through you eventually." It hurt, but also ignited reflection. Had I chosen Robert to prove a point, or because he filled voids Jamie couldn't? The drama intensified when Jamie outed our story anonymously on a popular queer forum, sparking heated debates. Comments ranged from empowering revenge to toxic and predatory. Reading them, I felt exposed, questioning my choices. Robert proposed a family meeting to mend fences. We gathered at a neutral diner in Brooklyn, me, Robert, Jamie, and Elaine. Tension crackled like static. Jamie arrived last, arms crossed. "Why him, Dad? Of all people?" Robert sighed. "Because he makes me happy, son. Something I haven't felt in years." Elaine mediated. "We're all adults, but this hurts Jamie." I spoke up. "I didn't plan this." But dismissing what we had as fun left me searching for real. Jamie's eyes softened momentarily, revealing his own vulnerabilities. The discussion unearthed buried resentments. Jamie's anger at Robert's coming out disrupting his childhood. Robert's regret over not being present. I sat there, an unwilling catalyst, realizing my role in their healing or destruction. As we parted, no resolutions, but seeds of understanding planted. Back home, I pondered the societal minefield. In a world quick to judge queer relationships, was ours defensible? The emotional layers peeled back, revealing complexities I'd ignored. The storm built to a crescendo as weeks blurred into a haze of confrontations and introspection. Robert and I clung to our relationship, but cracks widened under pressure. He'd cancel dates, citing work, but I sensed the distance, echoes of Jamie's warnings. One night, over takeout in my apartment, he confessed, "This is tearing my family apart. Jamie won't speak to me." Tears glistened in his eyes, a vulnerability that both endeared and terrified me. "I love you, Alex, but at what cost?" I fought back, arguing for us. "We've built something real. Don't let guilt erase that." But doubt seeped in. Friends advised caution. Society sees this as taboo, age difference, ex's dad. It's a powder keg. Online forums buzzed with our anonymized story, debates raging on ethics. Is revenge dating justifiable? Does familial loyalty trump personal happiness? I scrolled obsessively, each comment a dagger, some empathetic, others condemning. Jamie escalated the conflict by showing up at my workplace unannounced. "We need to talk," he demanded, pulling me into a nearby cafe. His face was drawn, anger simmering. "You're destroying him. Dads always put family first, until you," I countered. "You threw us away like nothing. Now you're jealous." He leaned in, voice low. "It wasn't nothing. I was scared. Scared of ending up like him, alone after chasing the wrong things." The admission hung heavy, revealing Jamie's fears mirrored his father's. Our conversation shifted from accusation to raw honesty. Jamie admitted suppressing his feelings for me, influenced by Robert's cautionary tale. "Dad taught me ambition over emotion. I pushed you away to protect myself." I shared my side. The hurt of dismissal, the unexpected pull toward Robert. "He's stable, kind. Everything you weren't ready to be." Jamie's laugh was hollow. "So you fixed it by dating my role model?" The irony stung, but it humanized him. No longer the villain, just a man grappling with legacy. Word spread to Robert, who confronted me. "You met with Jamie? Without telling me?" Trust frayed. "I needed closure," I explained. He nodded, but the seed of suspicion grew. Family therapy was suggested, but Jamie refused. Elaine intervened, hosting a tense dinner at her hotel. "This isn't sustainable," she declared. Robert agreed, proposing a break. To sort things out, my heart shattered, echoing Jamie's rejection, but deeper. Alone, I reflected on choices. Had I sought Robert to heal wounds Jamie inflicted? Or was it genuine? Societal norms amplified the drama. Queer relationships scrutinized more harshly, age gaps labeled predatory. Friends divided. Some cheered the defiance, others warned of long-term fallout. I volunteered at an LGBTQ+ center, channeling energy into advocacy, realizing our story highlighted broader issues. Intergenerational trauma, coming out struggles, boundary ethics. Reconciliation attempts faltered. Robert called late one night. "I miss you, but Jamie's ultimatum, him or you." The words crushed me. "Choose your son," I said, voice breaking. Hanging up, tears flowed. Loss compounded. Jamie texted, "Sorry it came to this." Was it apology or gloat? The emotional whirlwind peaked, leaving me questioning everything. In a final push, I wrote letters to Robert, expressing love and regret. To Jamie, forgiving his casual dismissal. Responses varied. Jamie's curt acknowledgement, Robert's heartfelt reply suggesting time might heal. But the damage lingered, sparking internal debate. Was my pursuit selfish, or a bold claim to happiness? Resolution eluded us, but clarity emerged in fragments. Months after the break, I ran into Robert at a design conference in Chicago. Ironic, his hometown. He looked weary, but his smile warmed when he saw me. "Alex," he said, pulling me aside. "I've thought about us every day." We talked for hours, rehashing the pain, the love. Jamie had softened, therapy helping him confront resentments. "He's dating someone now, seriously," Robert shared. "Says he learned from our mess." I nodded, a mix of relief and ache. "And us?" He sighed. "I want to try again, but slowly. No more secrets." Hope flickered, but caution prevailed. We'd both changed, me more assertive in my needs, him prioritizing balance. Society's gaze still loomed. Friends questioned the reunion. Forums debated similar tales. But we navigated privately, building on lessons learned. Jamie reached out eventually, inviting me to coffee. "I overreacted," he admitted. "Seeing you with Dad forced me to face my issues." We laughed awkwardly, bridging gaps. "You too deserve happiness if it's real." His blessing, tentative, eased tensions. Family dinners followed, awkward at first, evolving into genuine connection. Elaine joked, "This family's a soap opera." Laughter healed wounds. Yet, undercurrents of controversy remained. Our story, whispered in circles, ignited discussions on queer ethics. Can love transcend familial ties? Is revenge a valid motivator? I pondered these in quiet moments, realizing growth stemmed from chaos. In the end, Robert and I recommitted, our bond stronger for the trials. Walking hand in hand through New York, we ignored stares, embracing our truth. But the journey raised a lingering question. Was dating the man who shaped my ex a moral transgression, or a rightful pursuit of love?